The superstars of Fan Control Football Season 2.0 are not only the who's who of celebrity team owners and influencers, not the 21 million live views of our Emmy-nominated broadcast. Across Twitch, DAZN, Fubo, NBCLX, Peacock. Or our highlights that scored over 100 million views. And we can't forget best-in-class sponsors. But the biggest star of Season 2 is our play-calling app that allow fans to control the action on the field. Fans pick a team, pick a play, 4 run plays, 4 pass plays to choose from. The play with the most votes is called in real time.
We got it.
This is where video games and live action come to life. And now, Fan Control Sports and Entertainment brings you Fan Controlled Hoops, where fans call the shots. Coming 2023, the future of sports is here, and it's Fan Control. Power to the fans.
Are you ready for it?
Leighton back.
Josh! I love the ending. I love the ending where the girl's like, "Are you ready for it?" Like, yes, I am. Yes.
Woo, woo. I am ready. You know what always gets me about that video too is when Ray, like, he says the stations and then he just goes Peacock. He doesn't say and Peacock. It's just Peacock.
Yes.
Which, as we all know, as many people are calling it these days, just the cock or
the
cock. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest, it's kind of sick.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is. Like, where's the game on tonight? Cock. Cock.
Yeah. There's so many, like there's Cox Cable, obviously, that's been around forever. But just having a streaming service called Cock, I mean, I don't know.
Big in South Carolina, you know.
Huge. The Cock Network?
Oh, yeah, the Cock Network.
Is
You'll get a lot of kids in trouble. But it's like, no, I promise you, the game is on the Cock Network.
Do you remember the those hats that kids wore that said, like, everybody had one that said like Moorhead, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there was Cox, right? Because for South Carolina they had like the Cox, and it was just like there was 1 or 2 or 3 dudes in your high school. They're like, yeah, look at Cox.
Look at it,
right?
Yeah.
That's the network in South Carolina is just it's a gamecock, but they have artistically made it shaped or put in like you know how they hide cocks and things? They hide dicks and drawings, right? There's that classic one in Little Mermaid that if you look in the background, the castle of Little Mermaid is just sand castles of dicks.
Yeah.
Like, you just look at that. Yeah. That's how I imagine the Cox Network. Yeah.
Just subliminal messages all over. Yeah.
It's Jay Spacely in the chat. I can't tell you how many times I'll look at my wife and say, "Hit it, Jim," throughout the week. I don't know if that's a good thing there, Jay Spacely. I'll be honest. I mean, I know Jim is looking for love. I don't think you want it to be your wife.
No.
I don't.
Well, I mean, at least he's saying hit it, Jim, and not back to work. That's a different problem.
Back to work. I knew it was coming. Good timing, Jim. Good timing. I also want to shout out something real quick. Is that Leighton asked where I bought this behind me? This piece.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Oh no. Speak, and then I'm gonna bring up the prop. Hold on.
Yes. Nico 2343 is Fan Controlled Hoops happening? I heard Fan Controlled Football wasn't happening this year. Nico, I have very good news for you. We have a huge announcement coming in the next couple of weeks. Very soon about hoops and some other sports. I will say that last week on the Fan Controlled Show, we did announce that Fan Controlled Football is not coming back in 2023, hoping for sometime in 2024. I would prefer fall for football in 2024 because spring football is just a constant experiment that keeps failing, and
the spring league, right? This other semi-pro league that came out. The president of it left, and now he's trying to create a spring high school league. Because a lot of the high schools have wanted to play spring ball against other schools, and the transfer portal is actually hurting recruitment. Because why go out here and get a freshman to fill my roster when I can just go get an experienced dude from another program? So he's creating this league so that these kids can get extra looks by coaches.
Dude, that's actually really, really smart. That's genius.
Yeah.
Because I mean, spring football. One of my favorite weekends when I was at Penn State was Blue White, which was the spring football game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you would get, I mean, you know, Penn State seats about 105, 110,000 people, something like that, 112, something. It changes every white out there. Like, this is the largest crowd ever, 110,757. And the previous one was like 110,753. And I'm like, well, where are those other 4 people? Where'd you put them?
They're in traffic.
Yeah. So, but the Blue White game, it's like, you know, around 40,000 people will be in that stadium. Mm-hmm. And it's so much easier to sneak booze in. The weather is warm. Nobody's really paying attention. At the end of the game, you could just walk on the field and nobody's going to say anything to you.
Okay. But if you could trade the Blue White game to play another team in the spring, what school would you play in the spring?
Well, definitely not Ohio State, because I don't want to get embarrassed twice in the same year. in the same. I'd play like you know what would be a ton of fun is if you played like in-state rival-ish, but not you know, not the schools that you usually play in the schedule. So maybe Penn State plays, you know, a D2 school, like shit, I don't know, like, or man, that's tough. I mean, you would say Penn State, right? Like you would say that would be fun. We don't play them. Yeah, I wouldn't, because we don't play them every year. That would be a fun spring game, or like a school like Bloomsburg or Shippensburg, like a smaller school in Pennsylvania, just to get a little notice of them. You know,
I mean, or should you do conference challenges? Like, should the spring be Big Ten SEC challenge or ACC challenge? And it's like, LSU is taking on Michigan in the spring. Penn State's playing Alabama. It's like, oh.
How about this? How about this, Lay? You make it 7-on-7 flag, and you fan control it.
I'm down for that.
Like you fan control the spring game?
I would do. Yeah. Well, but then do you let the fans pick the opponent too?
Now we're talking. Yeah. SEC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-10 or Pac-12.
Yeah. Just basically like a bowl tie-in at this point. Like,
because who's watching? The only people that are watching the spring games of the teams are the people that are super fans of the teams. Like, I don't.
That's it. Yeah.
I was so drunk at the Penn State Blue White games, I don't remember seeing many plays. And then you talk to your friends that are really into football the next day, and they're like, "Dude, oh, we look so good. Offense is going to be cooking." I was like, "We're playing against our defense. What do you mean?"
My first ever LSU game was their spring game one year.
Okay.
And what sucks is the other side of the stadium is just empty, so there's like nothing to look at.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I would love to see another team come. It's like, I get a chance to mingle with Michigan fans just randomly in the spring. Yeah, let's do that.
I want it to be flagged because I don't want guys getting hurt in the spring game, right?
No.
But having a fun competition, make it even like 80 yards, put some, again, fan control it, make it. I think this is actually a pretty damn good idea. We just stumbled.
That's a great idea. Yeah. Do you do the big man challenge for halftime?
Yeah.
Yeah, just bring out a bunch of weights and stuff.
Yeah,
I was the whole skill challenge too, like the reps, the 40, like everything we did championship weekend. Do that at halftime with the big guys. The skill guys can go get their rest, but like I would love to see. I'll just keep using y'all. Like Penn State's D line, can they outlift Alabama's D line? And it's
totally, yes,
stronger.
Yes,
like Saquon Barkley, even though he would have been on the 7-7, but imagine him doing his squat reps in the stadium in front of everybody against, Trent Richardson or somebody. It's like, God. Like,
do you think that there's a better, I mean, with all this technology, we've got AI, everything like that. Don't you think we should have some, instead of flag football, they should be wearing like a laser tag vest, and their hands, when they touch the vest, just hit off a sensor, right?
Yeah.
So it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the other thing I've also I used to think about this for arena football. I'm giving away ideas, but a goal line horn, so that when the ball crosses the goal line, there's no question if it crossed. It just goes off. That's just like hockey. Like if I could get a horn in football for those close run the ball in type, or like when LSU beat Bama this year, we threw in the overtime, tight end catches it, but it could have looked like he didn't catch it in bounds in time. Yeah. But there's no question if the goal line horn just goes off.
Correct. Yes. The ball has a sensor. The goal line has a sensor. I mean, if they can do it in horse racing and do it in everything else. Jay Spacey said, I'd like to see more skills challenges in college ball, similar to the Pro Bowl challenges. Agreed. And I think that's what like some of the spring things is going to be like, okay, so Penn State's D line and Alabama's line lifted a combined, and let's just say they did 225, and then they multiplied that, and you got your total weight lifted, right? And then you put that against every other school. Because I'll be honest, I tune in very mildly to what is happening at the NFL Combine, because I don't think the NFL Combine does a ton for draft stock unless it's like, we've never heard of a guy and he's a D lineman and he runs a 4.2 40. Even then, a lot of that time it might be a bust situation. Rarely has.
This year I found out the CFL, Canadian League, actually has a better combine because they put the guys in scenarios.
See?
And they run plays. I was like, well, why can't we do that in the NFL? But a part of it, there's always the whole, we don't want guys to get injured. I'm like,
totally.
No. If you opted out of the bowl game, put them in scenarios now for the combine. And I wanted to address this. So Freddie brought this up. Malay, sometimes there's a question of if the ball carrier is down before the ball crosses, do you put sensors on the knee pads of the running back?
See? That's things that we can do. That's things that you can do. They're already wearing pads everywhere, for Christ's sake.
Well, this is kind of an Easter egg for fan control hoops. The players are going to have sensors on them.
Yeah.
And when the fans watch them on the court, you'll be able to see the tracker around them on this LED court. So the technology is already there. So why not just put these sensors in the knee pads of the receiver? Like anybody that could be a ball carrier needs to have this in their knee pad.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
You mentioned LSU earlier. LSU in the final of the College World Series tonight, best of 3 series, 4 p.m. What are you worried?
Oh, we got destroyed. Did you see the score yesterday? We lost 24-3.
Oh God. Oh no.
Florida scored the most runs in a College World Series ever.
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I think that college baseball needs a revamping.
How?
They need to make the tournament like the round of 60, like the NCAA tournament, right? You get 64 teams and we fill out brackets, because the super regionals and the other regionals, it's just too much. It needs to be, here's the College World Series. Here's 64 teams. They all made the College World Series. Okay. And then it starts here. Here's your bracket. Let's do this. Like, they need better PR for the World Series. Also, it can't happen at the end of June. They have to start this way earlier. So it ends.
So you
like Memorial Day.
When?
Like Memorial Day, right? Lacrosse ends then, and so does college baseball. Like, do them within a week, because by the time you get to summer right now, you forget about college sports. It's out of everybody's mindset. It's gone.
Yeah.
All the kids have left. Nobody can go to the games. Yeah, it's over. It's over. School's out. It's the summer of sadness, and that's where we're going to first here on Back to Work. Welcome to the show. We're here every single Monday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. It only took us 16 minutes to get to the intro. I'm Josh Macuga. That's Leighton Batiste. I'm in California. Leighton's in Atlanta, Georgia. So we are in that time, Leighton. Hit it, Jim. Back to work.
Boom.
Nice. That we're in like a summer sports depression. It's for real. It's real. As somebody that lives for golf, lives for it. It's the only thing that gets me through the summer. Okay. It's the only thing that gets me through the summer, sports wise, because I just can't gamble on baseball. Can't gamble on baseball. It is so hard to gamble on baseball, which is why Pete Rose getting busted for gambling on baseball is mind boggling. It's like, what else is he supposed to do? I get it. He's like, put over on 5. It's so hard to gamble on baseball, because baseball, there was this crazy bet this weekend. Did you see the score of that Angels Rockies game? It was like 25-1.
20-23 or 25-1.
25-1. Okay. They still lost the series with the largest run differential of a team losing a series ever. It was like plus 22 or something like that. But if you bet over 1.5 total runs for Shohei Ohtani on that 25-1 game, you would have lost your bet. It's such a stupid sport. In a game where the best player on the team only has 1.5 total runs, and the team scores 25 runs, and he doesn't score more than 1.5. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Growing up, what got me through this summer, this is so Leighton of me, was like all the uniform reveals that would come out, or they would put out the news like Oregon's getting new uniforms. Like that was the most exciting thing. That was it.
Yeah.
I don't follow MLS in the summer. It's boring. As an adult, baseball in the summer has only gotten better because you're an adult now. So it's less and less about what's happening on the field, and it's the fact that the Braves, you can go get like moonshine sweet tea,
right?
Or they have a Fat Tuesdays at the stadium too. Like it's more so about being drunk at a baseball game than it is the game.
Really?
The summer.
Yeah. And I'm going to bring up this glizzy comment I made on our Instagram page because I'm a little upset about this glizzy term because it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I'm just being an old boomer. What's that?
It's taking the world by storm. You're a boomer?
No, I'm not a boomer, but people like your age would probably go ahead, Jim. What do you got?
Can I really just hear you reference a glizzy?
Yes. Why are we calling hot dogs glizzies? Why? What? Where did it come from? It's so stupid. It's dumb. It's ridiculous.
I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say.
Can you explain it to me, James?
Well, it's really supposed to be related to a gun. I mean, it originated with a gun because that's where I know. All right, so I know glizzy originally from a gun because it was a gun from it's a term for a Glock, a glizzy.
Okay, so now we're calling hot dogs guns. This country already obsessed enough with firearms. Now we got to take an innocent food that just gives heartburn, and we're naming it after a gun. That's what we're doing. It's
because but now it's because the length of a hot dog, I guess, is kind of similar to
a wiener,
an extended clip that might be in a gun. So it's still kind of about a gun, but not really. It's
it's literally that hot dogs are the length of an extended clip.
Yeah, of a clip. Yeah, exactly. Extended clip. Yeah.
It's the gun to hot dog conspiracy. You never heard of it?
Okay, I'm leaving.
Go. All right, here we go. Good about this one.
Oh no, I don't know.
Oh, you just made that up.
I just came.
I was like, all right, Leighton, I'm here for it.
What I thought was funny on our Instagram pages, Steven Sawtell, huge fan for us on Instagram.
Yeah.
He commented and said, Glizzy is giving me a tizzy. I said, oh, it's giving you a tizzy, brother. Like now we have a whole new term.
I legit thought, and this is gonna sound, maybe I shouldn't even say it. Fuck it, I'll say it. I thought that Lizzo called them glizzies because she likes hot dogs. That's where I went. I was like, oh, Glizzos? Oh, glizzies. It just got shortened to Glizzo.
Honestly, that's a cool brand name.
Yeah. Like if Lizzo had a makeup brand and it was called Glizzo, like glamorous Glizzo, done.
God.
And that branched off into hot dogs, I could see that.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. Forget it. Anyway. Okay. So Leighton, as the summer of sports depression, we vacantly just walk around baseball stadiums and, gamble on golf. I put in DraftKings lineups by the dozen into any different sport just so I have something to root for. I guess, this summer we do have the Women's World Cup, which is always fun because our team has an actual chance of winning when it comes to soccer in the women's side. But so what I wrote down was I wrote down some things that I've been gambling on with my brother, and we've just been setting over-unders. Okay, so here you go. I will send him an account and a picture, and I will black out the number of likes on Instagram, and I'll give him an over-under, and he'll have to bet over-under number of likes. So let's just say, it's a famous Instagram model, and she's in a bikini, and I send it to him. I'm like, over-under 50,000 likes. And I'll be like, that's a tough one. Okay. You can do that with your friends. Even with your friends that have no followers, it's still a fun game. Like over-under 35 likes. Let's see what they get. Okay. And it's insulting to your friends and a good game to play with your friends.
Yeah, it is. About them.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Set a time clock for how long Stephen A. Smith talks without being interrupted on First Take and then set an over-under for the next time he talks to see if you break that over or under.
Okay. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been timing. It's usually close to a minute and a half, 2 minutes before somebody steps in and says something to Stephen A.
The man has a monopoly on his show. We need to call him out for it. It is what it is. Like
he just went to the ESPN brass one day. Was like, I don't like Max Kellerman anymore. Like, you're fired.
Yeah. Yeah, which he's back. Max is back on some show at noon now, so I was kind of proud of him this morning.
Yeah. It's basically the same show, just not as good, I guess. I mean, I cannot take either one of those dudes yelling at me. I really have a lot of trouble with them. And also, Stephen A. Smith, when I was bartending, when I first moved to LA, Stephen A. Smith came in and sat down, and it was there's a famous Monday night football game between the Steelers and the Dolphins. The final score was 6-4. Do you remember this game? It was played in a hurricane. Like the ball on the kickoff went in the air and landed and stuck about this far into the turf because it was so muddy. They should have never played the game. It was during a hurricane. So Stephen A. Smith sits down, and it's a Monday night, so there's not that many people. It was a hotel bar, right? There weren't that many people there. And so I like serve him a drink, and I'm watching, and I was like, and he's like, "Oh, you a Steeler fan?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "So am I." And I was like, "Oh, wow. You know, I mean, I knew you love the Knicks and you wrote for the Philadelphia Inquirer. Why are you a Steeler fan?" He's like, "Why do I have to explain myself to you?" And I was like, "Okay, cool. I didn't want to know anyway."
Okay.
I guess. Okay, here we go. Go to a Top Golf and bet on the scores of the other people playing around you. So, like, you see a family and you're like, I bet the dad can score 60, and you kind of watch the dad. It's a little voyeuristic, but a good game to play.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
Might explain yourself, but
yeah. Hey, we're betting on you. Can you score? A lot of families would probably take the action. Okay.
Yeah,
how about this? Bet on the number of mimosas your drunk friend has at Bottomless Mimosas at brunch.
Oh, that would go crazy in Atlanta. Every Sunday's a bottomless mimosa day. So yeah,
see,
that'd be huge.
Yeah,
okay. Use that one.
All right. How about this? Bet on how many girls your desperate yet confident friend talks to at the club or bar.
Ooh. I'm betting the under on my
the under every time.
Every time.
Every time.
Every time. Yeah.
And then finally, go to a farmer's market or museum or aquarium on the weekend and count the number of dads smiling and see if you hit over 1.5. So I was at the aquarium this weekend. We have an aquarium here in Monterey, and every dad looked the exact same, just standing with a stroller or near a stroller or no stroller, and just like, and we all like every dad kind of made comment, like eye contact, like. Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the thing: as a man, is this true? For men you don't know, you nod down. For men you know, you nod up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, I think that math checks out.
Yeah.
I think you kind of have to, right? Like,
I'm
or even like a side down, like a right, and then like a hey man, yeah,
yeah. And is it like a smirk, a smile, or like one of these like?
Yeah. Well, because then you see something stupid, but you don't want to say anything out loud. You know, like I'm you know, and you and the dude see it and then look back at each other like,
oh well,
right, something like that. Yeah. But if you see another dad or a dude that like knows you've met before, but you're not really friends, you automatically kind of go like, right? But you don't want to talk to him because you're not really friends. You just have met before in past.
There's nothing worse than like trying to avoid having a conversation with somebody that you know, but you don't really want to talk to them.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know it's an evolutionary thing, right?
What's that? The nod?
Like the nods and like if you're nodding down, like you're being more submissive when you nod, when you don't know someone and you nod down to them, you're like, you know, avoiding gaze in some way. You're trying to be submissive, but not so much so. You know what I'm saying? You're being respectful. It's I hate to say it, but it's just typical ape behavior. If you want to break it down, it really is ape behavior.
Wow. Jim has had two great additions to the team to the chat today.
And I'm gone.
He's gone. Jace basically said nodding down is acknowledgement, but nodding up is respect.
Respect.
Is that from a movie? Because it should be.
I want that on the shirt now.
Yeah.
Like, if you know, you know. Just yeah.
Me and my buddies always used to talk about like the cool kids in high school were always just like, and I was never cool enough to do that. I just couldn't do it. All right, Jim, what's next? Hit it. Back to work. All right, Leighton. So the NBA, okay. NBA draft
the NBA.
Go ahead. Bone. Pick your bone.
They suck at advertising the draft.
It's awful.
The NFL draft, the way that the build up to it is so amazing. It's amazing, right? they're talking about it for weeks. They're telling you the stories, like, and it goes as far back as before bowl season. It's like the draft is coming up. This is their draft stock. These are the stories, and you've got the trades and all the firings. Like, there's so much coming out, all to lead up to the draft. And they tell you, they promote the city it's going to be in. It's almost like the Olympics now. It's like it's in Kansas City this year. This is what you need to know about the city. This is what's going on. But the NBA draft just sneaks in. It's like, hey, we're here.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, your team drafted this person. It's like,
hey, you know what they need, dude? Okay, two things. And at this, one of them just came to me. First, they need a Mel Kiper or a Todd McShay. They need a personality that is synonymous with the draft. They need a guy that has weird hair or like a certain cadence to his voice, like a Mel Kiper that comes in here and gives you the breakdown of each dude in the draft, because of the transfer portal and because of the one and done and because of international basketball, we don't know a lot of these guys. You don't know them unless you oh man, fan controlled Lay is hot. Thanks, Authentic.
Thank you.
It's agreed. That's one sexy dude. He can't grow connectors between his mustache and his chin beard, but I'm trying so hard. But he's trying. He's doing his best. What they also I think should do, Lay, is on the stage. And by the way, speaking of things to bet on, I saw a hysterical video of a guy betting on over under 50 seconds it would take by the time Victor Wembanyama got his name announced till he got and shook Adam Silver's hand. He's like, all right, he's going to hug his agent. All right, he's going to hug his mom. And then he started hugging other people. And the guy was like, who's that guy? He can't hug him. He was well over 50 seconds. It was great. Anyway, so what they should do is they have a hoop up on stage. They have a hoop up there. Okay. Silver throws in the basketball. The first assist, their first point is on the stage. And if they miss it, fans can boo, or they could like dunk it kind of sick. Or like, if there are 3 points, they shoot it, whatever. I think that adds a little something like, hey, and then another thing we can gamble on. Go ahead. What do you got?
Or treat it like a gender reveal. You let a fan dunk it, but then the ball explodes and the player's name drops like a card. And they're like, Victor Wembanyama! Like, that would go crazy. like you have a choice to dunk on your owner. You can dunk on the head coach. You can dunk on Adam Silver, but let fans come in and just it's like, and then because you saw the response to I forgot the dude's name from Alabama that the Hornets drafted.
Oh, great!
Is that him?
The guy? No, the Raptors drafted the dude that looked like a skater.
Brandon Miller. When he got drafted, they showed everybody in the Charlotte Hornets arena. They were more upset than when the Knicks got Porzingis. Like, if you remember, like, who? Oh, they were pissed. The mascot put his head down. But imagine if that was revealed by a fan dunking on stage. Sure. The ball explodes and it's
Freddie Amerl says, I feel like that would be more fun for the lottery. I don't disagree. It could be both. 100%. Yeah. There just needs to be more flair, right? Like, I personally think in the NFL, if it's a running back, he's got to get handed a football and like run through a couple of like guys in pads, or like, like a little defense, like a fan defense. And then a defensive lineman tackles a foam Roger Goodell. A quarterback throws a bullet through some kind of. We need a little more performance out of the draft.
Yeah, like, I don't want to see you walk in your suit anymore. I don't want to see that.
No.
Or what if it's like the running back has an option and it's like, you got to get through this obstacle and you got to run through this door, and behind the door is the team that's going to draft you. And they run, they crash, and they're like the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Tennessee Titans. It's like, that's crazy. And like they run into an arena and it's like the fans are. I don't know. There's just a way they can make this way more entertaining for fans.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. See, all of this is really good. Yeah. I mean, because when we were talking about the gender reveal, my wife was like, let's just do a balloon. And I was like, no. She's like, you want to do the golf thing? I was like, I don't want to do the golf thing because everybody does the golf thing. And I just, it's not right. My idea was like, all right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take a cake. And I want you to smash it in my face. If it's blue, it's pink. She's like, I don't want to smash anything in your face. So like, all right, how about this? You take a boxing glove, and when you hit me, powder erupts, and it's blue or white. She's like, why does everything have to be violent? I was like, why isn't it always violence?
I was gonna say you get punched and then you guess the color of the bruise, and if it turns blue, it's like, or if it stays red, it's
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Baby Dave 07. So when does FCF started this month? No, FCF is not going to be until 2024. FC Hoops. We'll have an announcement soon. Along with a couple other amazing sports. We had some fantastic calls over the last 5 days. There's going to be some, I will say this fall, you're going to want, when the app drops, you're going to want to be in tune with the app every day.
Yeah. Every day.
Every day. Yeah. Jim, what's next? Oh, wait, we didn't even talk about the draft.
Oh, yeah. Not at all. Yeah. I really didn't watch it like that. But I did hear this about Victor Wembanyama. God dang it. Victor Wembanyama. He said something that caught the attention. Okay. Is his number, can you guess what his number one goal is for his rookie season?
Glizzy, eating glizzies.
No, come on. A better guess. You get
averaging a double-double?
No. This is crazy. This is it's controversial.
Okay.
He wants to play all 82 games.
Oh, okay.
So that's got basketball purists this guy that's a real basketball player right there. Worker. He's like,
I mean, listen, he's 7'6", however tall he is, and he's a beanpole. He's a skinny dude. I don't know how long his body's going to hold up. So listen, the Spurs better get as much out of him as they can.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
because
they had to put him on a nutrition thing now.
They got to dense up those bones, dude.
Yeah,
his bones look too skinny.
He's just Groot in a Spurs uniform right now.
Did you see that picture? It's him, David Robinson, Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan, and he all of those guys are huge humans, and they look like the short dudes in a frat picture.
Yes. Yeah, he's ridiculous.
How do you fly on a plane? You can't. I mean, I know
he's supposed to get on.
Yeah.
And they sit him in the aisle. That's how they do it.
Do they take out a row of seats in front of him?
No, they just get everybody else on the
floor.
Now
I know he's flying private, obviously, or charter planes.
Oh, well, then he's just on the floor. There's nowhere they're putting him in, because then, the roof, and he has to just lay on the floor, just this on the flight.
I've always wanted to be taller, but being that tall would be an unfortunate circumstance.
That's annoying. All of your clothes have to be custom, and it's
yeah. I mean, the suit is a 78 long. I'm a 40 regular. All right, Jim. What's next? Back to work. You see me getting okay. So over the last week.
Yeah.
And this happens often, but I feel like this week especially, we got treated to some new sports that I am loving. First, there's a kid in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, who has a basketball league in the sport court in his backyard. Okay. Finally, a rich kid doing something with the sport court. And he's got statisticians. He's got a bunch of Freddie Airmails out there. He's got camera crews. I mean, he's got refs, everything.
They've got jerseys. They're decked out.
Custom jerseys, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't have enough friends to do a league like that. And I have a lot of friends, but none of them commit to anything ever. They've never committed to a thing. It's hard to get them to just meet up for a drink, let alone every Sunday have a basketball league.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I don't think my parents want that many people in my backyard. Also, what are your neighbors thinking, Leighton, with this going on every Sunday, the Lord's Day, a day of rest?
Yeah. I mean, are they upset? What is Lancaster, Pennsylvania anyway?
Lancaster, Pennsylvania is the Amish capital of Pennsylvania, maybe the country. It's a weird part of Pennsylvania. Yeah. You see a lot of Amish baking pies, making chairs, driving around in their horse and buggies.
Mm-hmm.
It's different. Jay Spacey said the neighbors are the ones betting on the games. Yeah, I mean, it looked like he had a huge backyard, and the neighbors weren't really close. Obviously, there's a lot of land in Pennsylvania. You can get it for pretty cheap, especially in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's not that expensive of a place to live.
Honestly, if it grew, I would have just turned my backyard into seating and sold tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're paying everybody.
Yeah. Just charge. Like, come on. Go around back. Seating's back there. We have concessions. We're making taquitos.
We got a food truck full of glizzies.
Yeah, there it is.
Just foot-long glizzies for days. Sure.
Yeah.
Then we saw this one that blew up on our Instagram a little bit. Is the tennis basketball, what I'm calling tenace ball?
Tenace ball.
Tenace
ball requires tenacity. I don't know. I try. But here's my thing. I don't think folks really understand how much skill that takes.
Yes.
Like you saw he threw him out at first. It was a line drive. This is yeah. And then we saw the torpedo underwater soccer. Torpedo soccer? Yeah, it'd have to be. Or it's like water polo, but
underwater.
The coolest part about it, in my opinion, was they painted their numbers. I don't know if they do that in water polo, but their jersey numbers, the guys just painted like 57 and 6
in the waterproof paint. Yeah. Well, that's what they do in like triathlons, right? Is they write it in Sharpie on your body when you're swimming. But water polo, the numbers are on the hats, the helmets, if you will, but they're just basically
okay. I got you.
Cloth hats. Yeah. So listen, if you're out there and you're watching or you're a fan and you find any cool sports or you invent a sport and you can shoot a video, just send it to us.
Yeah.
Because it seems like the new horizon is just taking sports and meshing them
and creating something.
Yeah.
But I think that's what I love about it, right? It's like it proves that we as humans are always going to create some form of competition out of anything.
Yeah.
And now that we can all get our own cameras, create our own content, it's like, what can you create next?
Yeah.
What can you turn into a challenge and then a sport? It's like,
So we have neighbors over our hill, and the one guy, he was an Olympic skeet shoot, like clay.
Oh, yeah.
Clay. Right? Okay. Sick. So, and he knows, he sees me swinging the golf club all the time. And he's like, if you hit golf balls far enough, I could probably shoot it with a shotgun.
Oh, please get that on camera one day.
I'm waiting to do it because.
Oh, please do it.
Yeah. He's like, hit a wedge. I'll shoot it out of the sky. No problem. Like, oh my God.
Oh, the confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. It's shooting. I don't like shooting guns, but shooting shotguns at like moving targets as a sport is pretty fun. It's pretty fun. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Jim, what's next?
Back to work.
Leighton, is this the fight we've been asking for? Because I think it is.
And I don't think anybody understands how many communities have been asking for this kind of fight.
Yeah.
Like this is literally if Bruce Wayne and Tony Stark decided to fight. This is it. This is the fight.
Yeah.
In the real world.
Yeah. Okay, so I've seen a video of Zuckerberg. He's like into jujitsu, right? Or
it's like actively training.
Yeah. And Elon Musk is just not from this planet, so he's got like outer world strength. He's got Martian strength, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Well, also his whole background is he grew up on the mean streets of South Africa.
Okay.
He really grew up having to fight kids every day. So he's
scrappy.
He's scrappy. Like
okay.
Yeah.
So if we were going to fan control this, what do we do? How do we fan control something like this?
This is hard because they're two different weight classes. Like, I don't know if you saw the video I created, but if you base it off of a typical MMA weight class, I think Zuckerberg is like a featherweight. And then Elon Musk is like a super welterweight because he's 6'1", 180. Zuckerberg's 5'7", 140.
Wait, Zuckerberg is that little?
Yes, he's little. I've always thought he was 6 something. I don't know. His photographers are amazing, but I've always thought he was taller. But he's small. And Musk is huge. Plus, Musk just lost 30 pounds. Like he got his. Because you remember the pictures got viral of him. He had gained some weight, and he just dropped 30 pounds randomly recently. So it would be an extreme weight class difference. Most folks are going with Zuckerberg because he's been training, but I think Musk has the kind of strength that one punch. I mean, he gets him in the side or something. Yeah, I'm going with Elon Musk in my opinion.
Okay, and I will say, I at first I was a little skeptical of the celebrity model of the 21st century, which is get famous at something that isn't something, make a bunch of money in YouTube and social media, and then start fighting people. Like that's our 3-step process, right?
Yes.
And so I wasn't like when the Paul brothers started fighting everybody, I wasn't totally into it. And now I'm like, I can't wait to see who they fight next. Like let's fight people. Okay. And then when you get something like the Muskerberg, the billionaire battle at Bighorn, which that's what they should call it. Something like that. This is what the world wants, is billionaires fighting billionaires. Like, I don't care if an old Bill Gates fought a hologram of Steve Jobs. I'd probably watch it. Or like if
wait, but are we allowing Bill Gates to fight in fighter clothes, or is he fighting in his typical dad sweater, collared shirt?
No, like dad sweater. Dad sweater
versus
stuff.
like the Steve Jobs turtleneck. Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, okay. For instance, Jerry Jones versus Art Rooney II in a rematch of Super Bowl 10.
Davis.
Al Davis's son.
That's a fight.
Well, Al Davis is dead, the original, but those two, Al Davis and Jerry Jones, are scary looking old dudes.
Yeah.
Right. So, but this, I'm totally on board with seeing where this goes. I want, like Mark Cuban versus Adam Silver. Sure.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Ooh, Jay Spacely says loser has to leave their own platform. Let's add some stakes for it, bud.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, Musk is fighting super hard. There, you're not taking Twitter from him.
No.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm very intrigued by this idea of more rich people fighting each other.
It's like that scene in the last Dark Knight movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's literally just what it is. It's like, no, fight. On the ice.
Yeah, go.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yep. See, we may be in a sports depression at the moment, Leighton, but what we are being rewarded with might be better.
Yeah. Oh no, we're on the fast track to Hunger Games, and it's okay. It's
totally fine.
Where we are.
Yeah. All right, Jim, what's next?
Back to work.
Yes, my favorite part of the show, where I get to yell at Leighton about golf for 1 full minute. All right, here we go. First, a shout out to Keegan Bradley from New England, won the Travelers Insurance Classic at the TPC River Highlands in Connecticut, his like hometown-ish area. Really cool for him. He's been in the game for a long time, has a decent amount in one major, but he's a really good dude. But the big story of the weekend was a women's major, the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. The young Rose Zhang, the upstart, the next Tiger Woods, as they're calling her, was not in contention on Monday and Tuesday, and then all of a sudden played her way into contention on Sunday. And all she needed to do was not make bogeys and birdies down the turn. And on 18, she needed an eagle to tie and possibly go into a playoff. And instead, she knocks it in the water off the tee. Does not make birdie. However, a couple of groups later, a girl from Northern Ireland by the name of Stephanie Meadow needs to make eagle to force a playoff, with roning in another 20-year-old who has been playing incredible golf over the last 6 months to a year with a brand new caddy. Stephanie Meadow steps up to the ball. She's got 247 to the hole with a 3-wood. Leighton, she cold topped it almost in the water, 4 yards in front of her. It skipped out of the water, went into the rough. She made par, didn't make the playoff, and we had a women's champion. But the one thing LPGA fans and women's golf fans can be excited about is the fact that Rose Zhang contended in this major. She is the future of golf, and all we want is Rose Zhang to win all the time. And Leighton, I will be going to the U.S. Women's Open in 2 weeks at Pebble Beach, and I will be sending videos of me yelling, "Go Rose, go!" There you go. Josh yells golf at Leighton for 1 full minute. Whew. Speaking of minutes, Jim, what's next?
Back to work.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming directly from what seems to be a glowing room, it's Freddie ML! Freddie Express. Let's have it for more. Freddie, what's happening? Who would Notre Dame play in their spring game?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I don't know.
Purdue?
I think Western Michigan is the closest FBS school. Valpo is also kind of right down the street.
Valparaiso.
Not too far.
Okay.
There are plenty of options. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Freddie, we put 5 minutes on the clock for Freddie's Fast Five. What are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about, well, you guys have been saying that there's some kind of sports drought going on right now. Well, there's actually a lot of football going on right now if you know where to look. So I wrote down 6 different leagues that have games this week. One of them has a game tonight, actually. In the National Arena League, there is the Sharks and the Cobras are playing tonight. It's a side effect of Jacksonville Sharks, Carolina Cobras from like Greensboro, I want to say. They're playing tonight as a side effect of Antonio Brown's team getting kicked out of that league. They had to move some games around. They just put out the schedule for the rest of the year to work with the 6 teams that they have remaining. But that's there. That's something you can watch tonight. I think it's going to be a decent game. Both these teams are playoff bound, I think.
Is that the league that Mitch? Is that the league that Mitch Kidd is in? The NAL?
Yeah, Mitch Kidd is playing in West Texas in that league. They're not playing tonight. I'm not sure when their next game is.
Is Jordan on the Sharks? Jordan.
He's on the Sharks. He might be. He might. I think he might be gone from there. There's also the IFL, the Indoor Football League, another indoor league. They're coming down the stretch. They only have teams only have 2 or 3 games left, and 12 out of the 14 teams are still in contention for a playoff spot. Only 2 teams have been eliminated, and there's still plenty of former FCF guys there. TJ Edwards, as I mentioned last time I was on, I think, and then a few other guys. But most people right now are probably thinking USFL. Has their championship on Saturday.
Did Pittsburgh make it?
Pittsburgh did make it. The 4-6 Pittsburgh Maulers are taking on the 8-2 Birmingham Stallions. Pittsburgh was playing another 4-6 team in the division championship, so one of them had to make it. But so we're going to see, does Birmingham, as the best team in the league, finally do they pull this off, or do the Maulers have a Zappers Arlington Renegades kind of arc where?
Whoa, I like the combo.
I don't think it happens this time, but we'll see. There's precedent for it.
BC Lions saying, "Did I miss the CFL update?" I'm guessing that next. But before we let me get there, Freddie, do the Pittsburgh Maulers run a better offense than Matt Canada's Pittsburgh Steeler offense?
They're mostly a defensive team. They're mostly a defensive team.
Steel curtain doesn't matter the team. And Leighton, it's always steel.
The team that Pittsburgh played in the division championship, Michigan, they just played a quarterback. They just started a quarterback who only started starting for them in the last week of the regular season. A guy from Brown University, EJ Perry. And I think if they had maybe put him in over the guy that got benched a little bit earlier, he could have gotten something going, and he could be in the championship making a big run for it. But as it stands, I favor Birmingham here. We can talk about the CFL. And BC Lion, fan of one of the best teams in the league right now, one of the, I think, 3 undefeated teams left. Great thing about CFL this year is that there's a few things. They got to deal with CBS Sports Network, and so games are a lot more easily viewable. They've got a ton of games on there. And if you're in the U.S. and there's a game that's not on there, you can go to the CFL website and you can watch that for free. They have free streaming for games that aren't on TV for fans in the U.S.
How's Montez doing? I saw him post a video that he had an interception. I saw him post a vid.
I think he just got moved to the practice squad to make room for some guy who just came off the injured reserve. I think there's some stuff that Stiggers kind of needs to work on for his CFL game. You know, he can intercept the ball, but I think there's a few things that commentators have mentioned that, you know, maybe he would have that areas where he would be more refined if he had played in college, perhaps. Hopefully this is just a step in the right direction for him, even though for most people it would be a step backwards. But another great thing about the CFL, in addition to being very watchable on TV, is that they've finally realized, hey, we only have 9 teams. We can only have a maximum of 4 games in a week. Why not spread them out through 3 weeks so far? And even going into this 4th week, there has not been a night where there's been more than one CFL game on. It's been like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the first few weeks. And I think it's like Thursday, Friday, Monday, or something this week. It's they're really spreading things down. So people who want to watch the games and maybe they want to figure out what they're looking for, maybe they want to figure out a favorite team right now if they're just starting watching, and can do that pretty easily by being able to watch every game throughout the season. We've also got the
1 minute
European
left,
League.
Freddie. Go ahead.
The European League of Football is pretty early on in the season. There's a lot of non-American talent that you can go check out over there, but there's still plenty of guys that go through that from the U.S. and then they come back. We got that was where Cavante Turpin went after he was in FCF and before he had his breakout in the USFL.
Tommy O'Day was over there. Slade Jarman's over there, I think. Yeah.
Slade Jarman he's in Austria right now. It's in a different league, and he's doing all right. He's got 2,000 yards on his season.
Oh yeah.
But the real weird thing that I wanted to bring everyone's attention to is that the Italian Football League, Italy has their own league, and they have their championship on Saturday, same day as the USFL, and they're actually playing in the same state as the USFL championship is in. The USFL has their championship in Canton, Ohio. The Italian League is playing their championship in Toledo.
What? Wow. Oh, Toledo, Spain?
No. Toledo, Ohio.
Toledo, Ohio.
Why?
They're coming to the United States?
Yes, they are. Just for this one game. I'm guessing it's because what other reason would we have to talk about them? They're not exactly, the highest league of American football in Europe. So
but
what better way to get Americans to talk about them by not just playing in America, but by playing in like a U.S. city that makes you scratch your head? Why Toledo?
They didn't want to play in New York.
I don't know.
I'm just trying to think of Italian dominant cities, and they chose
Florence, Rome, Milan, friggin' Siena.
It's Florence versus Parma in this championship.
It's Florence versus Parma,
and Florence is coached by Art Briles, a former college head coach in the U.S. who had a scandal. He's the reigning champion. And they ran for almost 400 yards. They ran for almost 400 yards in their semifinal game. They had like 3 times as many rush attempts as pass attempts.
And that's a lot of Parmesan cheese, Leighton.
And the other team, Parma, is quarterbacked by a guy who played in one of those small Pennsylvania schools that you mentioned at the top of the show, in the same conference as some of those. He played at Kutztown. I believe that's how you say it, because that's how Stathead said it to me when we, I think during one of the podcasts, Mr. DeGalbo. Nice Italian name.
Good Italian guy. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So one of them is going to win that title. And that's what I got for you.
We got time for one more. You got time for a thumbs up, thumbs down. You got one for us, Freddie? Okay, hit it.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. One thing I thought of for FCF when it does eventually come back is for the man up competition, which is something that we have on draft nights to give teams and players power ups and advantages when the games hit. And I thought of something that I think Josh would like, which is
gender reveals.
When we get to, instead of just having everyone kind of on an equal ground to start the competition, what if we had like a trivia quiz or some kind of other contest ahead of that, and maybe you get bonus reps in the man up competition or in some other kind of drill, and that gives you bonus reps based on how you do in that trivia. You could have fans voting on the trivia subject for the week. Maybe they talk to their players and see
Freddie,
what subject do you want.
Freddie, we can't have football players doing trivia before the game.
No,
it's a funny idea, but listen, all the players kept pitching me a spelling bee last year. I was like, guys, it's hilarious, but I'm not going to put these guys in spelling
bee. If they want it.
Chris Robb and who else? Kyle Goodby. They all kept like, "Yo, we're gonna do a spelling bee." I'm like, "We're not doing a spelling bee." Freddie, Pride of Notre Dame. What do you got, Leighton? You were giggling before Freddie started talking about the thumbs up, thumbs down. You were smiling about.
Oh, because I was looking at this for Jay Spacely, and I was thinking, what if this was the Italian Football League logo and they just put the stripes of the ball in the middle?
Perfect.
Yes.
Man,
But we got
you're the
to.
best.
They got to. I hope there's a good Skyline Chili in Toledo for the Italian fans who are coming. See what we've done to spaghetti.
If you call it gravy, you're not Italian. If you call it sauce, you're allowed in my house. Freddie Airmail, thanks for being here, buddy. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right. Get back to work.
Right, Freddie. Back to work. Oh man.
Gosh, what did you just say?
What do you mean?
If you call it gravy, you're not Italian?
Correct. Yes. And if you call it sauce, you're allowed in my house.
What?
Yeah, it's not gravy, Jim. It's sauce.
All right. Okay. Tell that to my Nona. All right.
Your Nona has been totally brainwashed by East Coast Italians that have no idea. Gravy is for
She's
turkey.
an East Coast. She's a first generation East Coast Italian. Of course she was influenced by the East Coast.
Jim, when you go to Italy, that's not sauce. It's not gravy.
Yeah,
it's called sauce.
I know.
I love your Nona, though. I'm sure she's amazing. Listen, gravy or sauce, I'm still eating it. We just don't call it that in my house. You're not allowed to. Not allowed to call it gravy, Leighton.
Okay.
Gravy is for, as my nunnies said, gravy is for a turkey. Okay? A sauce goes on a pasta. There you go. But funny fight. Jim's Nona versus my nunny.
I'd bet on that. I don't know what I'm thinking.
Oh no, man. My great grandma cooks. She's a zombie right now, so she might win. She might win, Josh. She might win.
My great grandma died in 1987, but
zombie versus zombie. Okay.
Zombie versus zombie. Wooden spoon is their only weapon.
Yep.
They can,
Yep. And some and some slippers.
And some slippers.
Yeah. The only armor they could use is an
apron.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so good, Jim. So good. You know what? That's actually a pretty funny video game idea. It's like Italians versus Italians, and it's like the Simpsons arcade game back in the day where Marge has the vacuum and Homer kicks and Bart's got a skateboard, Lisa's got the saxophone. So grandmas have a spoon and an apron, and the grandpa's got like a saucy shirt, like a wife beater as they call it, a tank top on, and he's got like a slipper that he swings, like a house shoe. I don't know. This is a very offensive game.
I'm trying to think of what it would be for like Louisiana Creoles. It'd be like a gumbo pot versus an accordion, and then
a trumpet,
a Tabasco pepper, like I don't sugar cane. Like you can only fight like a bag of rice. Like that's what it would be. Red beans. You just throw red beans.
I was going to say black-eyed peas.
Yeah, like just all in.
Yeah. All right. Last thing, Leighton, in the show. So Netflix last week released a trailer for a quarterback documentary series, right?
Yeah.
And they got the biggest names basically in the league. And they got Patrick Mahomes. They got what looks like Kirk Cousins, Marcus Mariota somehow.
Yeah, they've got Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't see a Josh Allen in there. I'm sure there's going to be some cameos by a bunch of other quarterbacks. And obviously we'll be watching this because any kind of sports documentary series on Netflix, I'm watching. But my question to you then is what other positions in sports would you like to see have its own documentary?
I mean, are we doing this from a comedic angle or like a serious?
I mean, I think the serious angle of this all always leads to some comedy, you know? I mean,
I got one. Okay. I want a journeyman documentary in the NBA. Or a sixth man. But like, I would love, like, I think Seth Curry should have a documentary. Like, all the different teams he's played for, show the different relationships. I think that would be a pretty cool. Well, he would have to do a series at this point, not just a documentary.
I think the hard part for Seth Curry is the fact that his brother is so good.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, every episode where he has to play the Warriors would be probably one of the best ones.
Yeah.
It's like, do y'all do family dinners? Like, do y'all talk to each other? What is
right? Who does the mom love more? Kind of a thing, you know?
Yeah, like which kind of the whole Kelsey brothers situation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Because Joe DiMaggio back in the day, obviously but his two brothers, Vince and Dom DiMaggio, both played baseball. But I mean, Joe DiMaggio considered, top 10 baseball player all time, if not like, top 5. I don't know. if you talk to old people, he was the greatest to ever do it. And his 56 game hitting streak will never be touched. I mean, I don't think anybody will ever come close to that. So, I mean, a documentary series about brothers who are also in a professional sport, but their other brother is so dominant and so good is kind of a cool angle to a documentary.
Would it be like the Antetokounmpo brothers?
Yeah. What's his brother's name?
Oh, well, there's the Nassus, then there's I forgot the other ones, but there's like 3 of them. There's 3 other ones.
Jay Spacely said The Other Brothers documentary coming soon. The Other Brothers.
Yeah, the other brothers.
Yeah. Because remember when like did the Stoop? No. It was the Bowdens, right? Because Bobby Bowden coached Florida State and like Terry Bowden coached Clemson, and the mom would show up with like she would get a custom
jersey. Yeah.
Which
or the Kelly brothers, Chip Kelly, Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
The Harbaugh brother. That would be a really good one.
Totally.
Like brothers coaching in the same sport, or
if Jim was still in the NFL, like a documentary series following them all season long, and you're hoping that one is failing and one isn't, or because John has a couple Super Bowls or one Super Bowl with the Ravens, and when he got it against his brother, so
that's tough.
Man, I just know if my brother was in the league and he was better than me, I'd be pretty salty about it. Pull up that question. Pull up that thing that you sent me.
You know that's where my mind was going.
Yeah.
All right, so last night, this is what happened. Backstory. A storm cuts through Atlanta and shuts off everybody's power.
Okay.
So we pulled up to my friend's house, cookout, and we light the candles, and we're playing Moral Dilemma. So this question comes up, and once it came, I knew it was perfect for our show. So the question is, you and your best friend are professional athletes facing each other in the World Championship Finals.
Yeah.
You are in it for the sport while your best friend wants to fulfill his terminally ill younger brother's final wish of seeing him become the world champion. He cheated to beat you. So do you A, tell the referee he cheated and get him disqualified, making you the world champion, or do you give him the win?
All right, so here's a bunch of the caveats and why I need the caveats before I can make an informed decision. Okay, now, if I have never been to the World Championship, or I've never been close to it, and I've been working my whole entire career to get here, and more than likely I will never have another shot because I worked as hard as I could, and I got all the breaks this time, and I made it there. I think I'm too nice of a person. I still just let the guy, my best friend, have it. I think I still do. But knowing full well that in my heart of hearts, I won, even though I don't have the trophy or the accolades to do it. Now, if on the other side of things, I'm Tiger Woods and I'm always going to the World Championship, and this one I'm like, let's give it to him. It's a little bit easier to give it to him. However, Leighton, I do not appreciate cheating in sports at all. I don't think I don't think it has its place. I would rather. Yeah, oh man, what do you? Well, what?
I was hardcore. I went with A. I'm telling. No, screw your little brother. I'm sorry. What? It's like, what? you did what? Oh yeah, no. I'm telling everybody. Oh, you cheated. I'm the one player on the Houston Astros that couldn't take it. It was like, you know what? We cheated.
Yeah, I don't, because then the younger brother who's sick is like, my brother's a cheater, and that's all he ever knows is his brother's a cheater. So instead of actually winning a world title, his brother's now just been completely shamed, and the little brother's like, I got cancer, my brother sucks.
Oh yeah, that does suck, huh?
That's really tough, man.
That's hard.
You gotta have some empathy here. You gotta be a little bit of an empath.
Darn.
Basically, win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat.
Oh, that should be on every Patriots t-shirt. There it is. Like that's we're clipping I'm screenshotting.
Yeah, that's really good. Freddie Emerald said, have you told Deez this, Josh, about what exactly? And then Freddie Airmail says Buff Shutterworth, the Buffumentary. That's, I think, what we need to really bring Buff
The
Shutterworth.
last time we brought him up, my internet went out. So
oh no.
Yeah.
Buff is watching. Buff
yeah,
is
he's watching.
Yeah. To round this out and to round out the show, I have met a decent amount of goalies in hockey in my life, and they're all very strange. It's a different breed of human that can stand in there and get hard rubber things fired at them at over 100 miles an hour, day in and day out, all of the time. It takes a different kind of human to want to stand there and stop those.
Well, then you've got to put catchers in there. Like, why would you want to catch this coming at you that hard? Or
it's a really good call too.
Like,
yeah,
why?
Yeah.
Maybe the guys that draw the carts around and collect golf balls at a Top Golf. Once you get out there, everyone's aiming for you. Why would you?
Right at you, just right at you. Bruce Q said, "My friend is a goalie, and he's a real stand-up guy. Is that a joke in there?
Is he standing?
Because he's a
goalie. Yes,
he stands up tall.
Back to work.
All right, thanks, Jim.
Back to work is every single Monday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. Myself, Josh Macuga, Leighton, Batiste. Where can the good people find you?
At Fan Control Lay on Instagram. I've just kept my regular name on Twitter, so just Lay.
It's just at Lay.
It's Lay.Batiste. Yeah.
Lay.Batiste. Right on. Special thanks to Freddie Airmail for being here. Congrats to everybody playing in all of the football leagues across the country. Go Maulers, I guess. And yeah, if you're in the Italian Football League and you're watching this, or you have this has to be
Super Bowl.
The little football in there.
Hey. Why is there not a team called the Super Brothers? I would do it.
Good God.
Yeah, the Super Brothers.
My brother and I have been arguing the fact that my brother, hates names of teams now. Like, he hates the fact that it's like the Cobras versus the Radlers, or it's
because I get here's the thing. There's borderline, like, there's the area where your team name is racist. But right. There are some teams whose names are very like essential to their culture. Like, I love Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Yeah, I dig that. Yes, sure.
And I wish more teams would do stuff like that. Like, what do you call yourself? Like a Pittsburgh team called the Yins. That would be actually
Oh, yes, exactly.
That would be great.
Right. But I was always a fan of I like the Washington football team. When they went Washington football team.
Yeah.
Because the Manders.
I like when people call them the New York Football Giants for some reason.
Yes.
It's like, that's actually pretty dope. So
sick. Yes. Yeah. So I want, if I do like the idea of the Jacksonville Football Club or the Jacksonville football franchise, something that has because there's not many. Are there Jaguars in Florida?
No.
It's a jungle cat, right?
Yeah, it's a panther. That's why the hockey team makes sense. Like, that's real.
Yeah.
But there's no Jaguars in Jacksonville.
I mean, the Houston Texans is such a bad name for a team, but it makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, it's because they're the Texans. Like,
they should have been the Houston Oilers when they came back. They should have just taken that team name.
Yeah, they should have buy the rights. Why not?
Yeah. But I do like the idea. When I don't know. This is a lot.
It's a whole new segment. Maybe do we extend the time and keep talking about this, or do we start a?
No, I think that I love when you go to, European soccer teams and it's the Wrexham Football Club or Manchester United or something like that. Right. A lot of the MLS teams adopted that style of naming a team, which is why, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Okay, cool. Riverhounds a cool little mascot, but it could have just been the Pittsburgh Football Club or the Pittsburgh
Football
Football
one thing
United.
I've been thinking about is, in the US, all of our women's teams are separate franchises, separate names. But overseas, like FC Barcelona women's, it's the same name. They don't create a new brand for them. So I would love to see that in the US too. Like, I'd rather be Atlanta United men and then the women's side. Like, I agree with you. The pitties.
So I've had people say, like, people not from Pittsburgh being like, "Oh, pity." I'm like, nobody calls it that. Okay, it's not pity. It's called the Berg or Pittsburgh. It's not called pity.
But what are you called if you're from Pittsburgh?
A Yinzer.
Oh, that's a great name. The Yinzers.
Yes. It's a great name.
I mean, this is interesting, but like the first Atlanta baseball team was called the Atlanta Crackers. Yeah. But what it was, it was kind of like a New York Yankees situation, right? Like, how Southern is like, oh, dang Yankee.
Yeah.
For down here, they took it as a term of endearment. And they're like, no, we're gonna brand our. Then the Negro League team became the Black Crackers. They were like, oh God, okay. Yeah. But sometimes I think stuff like that is cool. It's like, okay, there's some historical context. You took a term of endearment, made it a mascot, cool. Like, yeah.
There's some old, if you go look up, do yourself a favor and look up how offensive the old Stanford mascot was. He was in.
Oh, it was bad. I've seen
real bad.
Yeah, it was bad. It was terrible.
Really, really bad. Yeah. I mean, when they changed the name to the Pittsburgh Penguins, the city had a meltdown, right? I think we talked about this last week, but yes, there are borderline offensive name teams and old offensive mascots and all that kind of stuff, crackers, whatever it may be. There is still something magical about calling it the city, the sport, and like the club, the United, the this, that. I dig that. I really do.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is Back to Work. We are not here next Monday. We are taking the day off. It's the day before the 4th of July. So go out and buy your fireworks and make sure you celebrate responsibly. If you're going to shoot off fireworks, make sure you don't Jason P. or Paul and stand too close, or that's fireworks are very dangerous things. So please be careful. There is a fan controlled show here on Thursday, 2:30 p.m. Pacific. Myself, Jeff Canada, Patrick Dees, a cavalcade of guests. Again, there are some awesome announcements coming here in fan controlled sports and entertainment. We're working on a ton of different things behind the scenes, and we promise that this fall and going forward in the future, there is going to be so many sports to fan control. You will not have all the time in the day to do all of them, and that's going to make the Fan IQ leaderboards really something to behold.
Yep.
For Leighton, Batiste, Jim, Ruthless Cutie, Jess Samola, Freddie Airmail, thank you so much. It's Monday. Get back to work.
Back to work. Thank you, fans, for watching Back to Work with Leighton Batiste and Josh Macuga on the Fan Controlled Sports and Entertainment YouTube channel. If you liked this video, you can check out other videos right here. You can subscribe to the channel, tell all your friends, hit like buttons across all the videos, check out all of our shorts and live shows, and as always, power to the